Lauren Basector is a producer that you can trust is going to lead you where you want to go, right? So, like, I can get down to deep.
I think there's some people that might disagree with that.
Okay.
So I guess we got the answer of whether or not TCU deserves to be in the national championship.
That's so bad.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
So that's going to be great to hear Alabama fans talk about that for the next 9 months. That'll be fucking awesome.
Yeah. The old what could have been.
Yeah.
What is the joke about bear? Like, what's the same thing as a Bama fan and a fly? They can both live off a dead bear for 50 years.
Oh.
And then Nick Saban came around and that joke wasn't relevant anymore. It's a sad day.
Yeah. I like how he lost literally one game to the number 1 ranked Tennessee, and people were like, is the Saban era over?
The Saban era is over. It's great. It's
Bro,
awesome.
it was one game.
Mm-hmm. No, that's all it takes, though.
I gotta say, just in relation to football, before we really get going, this is gonna sound horrible, and I'm sorry. If you want to cut it, you can. I'm so fucking glad that guy didn't die, strictly so we can just move on from it. The Bills guy.
Listen,
DeMar?
I've got some opinions on this that are not going to be terribly popular, but like I think it's bullshit. It's bullshit that they didn't finish that fucking game. It's ridiculous that they didn't finish it the next day. Like, come on, dude. Like, play the game or finish it that night. People go down all the time.
No, they shouldn't have finished it that night, but like they should have definitely finished it later on, I feel like.
People go down all the time, dude. Tua got carted off doing his hands all like this, and they finished that game.
Do you know
Ryan Shazier for the Steelers got paralyzed. They finished that game. Don't tell me it's because they gave him CPR. They've done that in college. They finished those games. It's just I don't know what the deal was.
It's a perfect indication that the NFL is a bunch of rigged bullshit. They're like, oh, it's not going to matter for our playoff script writing anyway, so we might as well just cancel the fucking game.
Whatever.
So, that's
they have to keep the broadcast going, too, just so they can get their commercial money as well.
Yeah,
exactly. There's a lot of variables.
They did keep it going, too, for an hour and a half while they didn't play.
And they didn't say anything novel for an hour and a half.
And they're like, he's still unconscious. Now a quick word from Burger King.
It was literally just how we do our podcast, just filling blank space with meaningless dribble.
But at least it's quality content, you know? It was just painful. It was painful. Yeah, it was as painful.
You guys fucking wait until we start getting ad revenue, and we're going to cut these episodes down to 30 minutes apiece, and the other 30 minutes are just going to be fucking ads. It's just going to be ad read.
Mid-sentence, put in an
Mid-sentence ads.
We'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are your hosts, Blake, Christian, and Trey, and we have a very special guest with us today yet again, Anthony Rodriguez. Big, long-time listener of the show, first-time caller. Anthony, you want to introduce yourself and tell us how you know us three and what you feel about the podcast?
Yes. Unfortunately, I grew up with these three guys in the old suburbs of Birmingham, as they've mentioned quite often. And I'm still in the suburbs of Birmingham, but it's a good life. Yeah, we traveled to shows, venues, festivals, done everything in between. So love these guys, and these are also the only three guys that can get me to willingly listen to a Kanye album. So thank you guys for that. I lost a hearing and couldn't have come in a better time. So thank you.
Nice.
Well, we decided not to speak his name on the show anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
So we got to edit. Go ahead, say
just bleep it.
Famous line, Trey.
Hey, we're gonna have to cut that.
Yeah, there we go.
We're gonna cut that.
Okay, so today we're talking One Piece Puzzle by a group by the name of Listen. So this was new to me. Allegedly, it was not new to Trey. But Anthony, you want to tell us kind of about the album and the group and why you chose this?
Yeah. So Listen, was like a discovery that I don't even know how I found them or how I discovered them, but it's just probably talk from Pretty Lights fans, But then once I found out some of the nuts and bolts of Listen, so like here's the members, like just an interesting tidbit for you. Ben Schroer, Corey Eberhardt, the original drummer for Pretty Lights, Ken Daly, who's DJing and scratching, Michael Minert, and then Derek Smith. So like finding out who's all in the band just really opened my eyes to it. And then the rabbit hole began, because you can't really like find this music anywhere online. But once I found it, I was like, people need to fucking hear this, you know? So any chance I could, I was like, y'all got to listen to this music. Here's the CD. Here's the link. Here's the files, you know, like just play it, show it to somebody, and fucking, it doesn't get old, you know? So That's why I figured at least one of you guys had never heard it. I was hoping it was you, Blake.
It was brand new.
I'm glad to, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it too.
Hell yeah.
And just so everybody knows, before streaming was a thing, yes, we all had, you know, LimeWire, and we did our best to download. But when I say that Anthony was the musical guru of our time growing up, I'm very serious about it, and probably still is. This man's fucking music collection is probably the most absurd thing. Not even just music.
Insane.
Video. How many iPods do you have now?
Dude, I was uploading music for my dogs. All my dogs have their own iPods now, so there's 6 at least right there for them to listen to.
That is a very unique sentence to you.
Dude, I sent Anthony when I was in college, I was like, yo, can I just send you a hard drive for you to fill up with music and stuff?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, I'll send you 500 gigabyte. He was like, that's not enough. He was like, make it 2 terabytes. I was like, all right, word.
You know, I mean, like music discovery is such an interesting journey of mine, because like my friend had Napster, and like Napster really blew up, and then LimeWire and Grokster and BearShare and all these other like file sharing things. And I was like, this is like what I get the most out of, is like exposing people to stuff, and whichever way is most convenient for them, I will take that route to get them that content, you know? So like being able to burn CDs for people in high school, I would just say, give me a list, and then fucking it's on. You know, I'd be up till 3 a.m. finding files again, just to expose people to the music or the sound, because I buy merchandise. You know, I'm not a full-on pirate, and buy tickets and all. But either way, like getting it in someone's ears, whichever way possible, that is that's where I get the most out of it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's really cool, because we've talked before about how like I have like an iPod Touch, but the only thing that's on there is shit that isn't streaming. So it's like old mixtapes, like old Lil Wayne mixtapes that aren't going to be on streaming, like all the dedications and shit like that. And then there's like certain Grateful Dead sets on there that you just like that are not going to come to streaming. So it still definitely has a value in the streaming era. Like there's still a ton of shit that you can't get. I mean, especially like look at Listen, you can't
exactly.
There's nowhere you can find Listen either. So it's
you can find it on YouTube, broken down track by track in a full video with complete credits and verse credits. Thanks to one Anthony Rodriguez.
Thanks.
Again, you know, it's like it's all for the love, and like to make it as convenient as possible for people. That is like what it should be about. You know, like music shouldn't be free. I feel like it should be something. I mean, it shouldn't be like you have to pay to listen. Listen for free, and if you love it, then you go support the artist in whichever way you feel entitled to, you know, whether it's merch or tickets or whatever, donate to them, because it gives them now the freedom to keep doing it. But at the end of the day, they're putting out a piece of art and it's meant to be consumed. So that's always been my philosophy, is like free consumption, but I'm going to support them if I fucking love it.
For sure.
And if I hate it, I'm going to tell them the shit sucks.
Yeah, like I'm gonna try again.
Blow up social media. It's not going to ruin their day. Trey, do you want to talk about your experience with the album when you first heard it and such?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't know this for sure, because I feel like I've always this is one of those albums I feel like I've always listened to, but I'm pretty sur the first time I ever heard this was from Anthony, and Anthony being like, yo, you've got to listen to this like rap album that Derek has from Pretty Lights, obviously. And you burned Listen Cares, One Piece Puzzle, and then the first album, which is just self-titled, right?
Yeah, I think it's just called the first album.
Yeah, listen, the first album.
Yeah.
No, he's kidding. So you burned all those on CDs, and like the change in production value from Listen Cares to One Piece Puzzle is just such a huge jump. And I like Listen Cares. But One Piece Puzzle is phenomenal. Blake, I know you said that you think I'm just, I guess, lying about this being a favorite piece of music of mine. I'm sure I've talked to you about it at some point, and I'm sure you've been in a car with me listening to
you're
this.
You're like LeBron. You lie about the weirdest shit. Like, it's like, why would you lie about this? I don't understand. Like, I've never heard you talk about this band or this album ever in my whole. I've known you for like 12 years, Trey. I've never heard it. Like,
Bro,
why are you lying?
Have you ever heard me talk about Manchester Orchestra? No.
Yes, I absolutely have. Like, here's the thing. If I were to say right now, like, oh, Relapse is one of my favorite albums, you guys would be like, that makes sense. I've heard him say that. But earlier today, Trey was like, yeah, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm like, what? Where did this come from?
Anthony, back me up here.
Yeah, I mean, with Trey and I went to, where did we go? Cincinnati on the way back. All listen, you know, I mean, like, we've talked that. I know Christian and I have talked listen before, and I can't imagine you not at least hearing about them in Telluride. But either way, I'm glad you can be exposed to it now, Blake. You're welcome.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. Like, before Trey was like, yeah, Anthony, bring me this CD. He just was like, I feel like it's just one of those things I've listened to forever, as if it just was from the ether of nowhere and it entered his ears.
Listen, y'all try to show off because you're Freddie Anthony's here, all right? I don't get that's not fun for me.
Okay, sorry. You can continue. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, I mean that was pretty much it. I really enjoy this record. I think that the mixture between like instrumentals and hip hop tracks is something that's relatively unique. I know like Wu-Tang Clan did it on a couple records. I want to say Beastie Boys have done it before, but there's really not that many albums that do that, especially with such balance. So I think that's a really cool thing that this record does. Blake, you're more, of a hip hop guru than I am, but can you think of an album that does something like that?
Not in the way that it's hard to explain the way that they do it, because the music feels very like Pretty Lights Band-esque, like that type of music that's throughout the album. It kind of feels like a dry run for what he does later with his band, just like almost in a watered down way, because it's not as Pretty Lights centric. So I can't really think of like a hip hop album that uses that type of music in the way that Listen does, because a huge majority of the album isn't really, I wouldn't call it hip hop. Like, there's a lot of tracks with no vocals, or there's a handful of tracks with no vocals. And so I can't think of like a hip hop album off the top of my head that's like that. So no, it's very different for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was one album that, listening to it, I actually played it for somebody and they were like, this is like almost like elevator music. And I was like, the fucking sickest elevator ever, like that thought triggered in my mind of like, it's great background music. It's great, like, active listening music. It's really great for a lot of driving, a lot of different scenarios where you might listen to it. But I did always have this mental image of like, if I could hijack an elevator's PA and play this album and just watch people's reaction, there's no way they're not moving to this fucking music. It's that fucking good.
That's the same thing people always say about STS9, and I think a lot of the instrumentals on this record are very like, especially early STS9, like Artifacts and like even pre-Artifacts. What's that first record called? Anyway, the one that Moonsocker's on. Yeah. But yeah, it sounds a lot like that. I hate when people say that, to be honest with you.
Right.
Like, what
elevator music?
What elevators are you riding?
Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Christian, what about you? What was your experience with it?
Yeah, I can't tell you the first time I heard it, but it had to be through Anthony. Like, there's no question in that. I think the first track that he showed me actually was Swing Set. And I was just like, holy fuck. And then we kind of dove into this album, and we'll get into like my thoughts on it now as to when I first listened to it later. But it's so interesting and beautiful to be able to find something like that comprising of artists who, some who fizzled out, maybe didn't do anything, some who initially did and didn't, and then some who, got really big. Our landlords now in New Orleans. But you hear this, these sounds. all throughout, and you can picture this kind of like evolution, even with the hip hop aspects of it or the rapping aspects of it, and what, you know, PL went on to do, utilizing that type of stuff through sampling and through all kinds of stuff in the future. It just kind of took me into this kind of time portal of this is where they came from. And it's rare that you really get to hear that from artists. I mean, really early on stuff that's completely unfound. So
yeah, I would say that this is like a really good preview of like the concepts that became Pretty Lights, especially like even lyrically. What's the line where it's like some days every day for all I care, Anthony? When one of the tracks, but like then like PL comes out with a song called Some Days Every Day, or like on One Way Street he says like all in all is all we are, which is a 9 Inch Nails quote that he ends up sampling. And the 9 Inch Nails like mash up and what like stuff like that. It's like small little things that all ended up being like kind of big Pretty Lights moments. So you're right, it is pretty unique to see something like
this
that.
Is like a popular thing though around that time, I feel like, though, and you're right, it's really reminiscent of like early STS9. It's very reminiscent of like Iodo on some tracks. Even I'm not sure if y'all remember Numa Trio, but it was similar to this. I think the lead guy from that was Paper Diamond, who ended up being on the PL Pretty Lights music label. Paper Diaper.
Well, that's crazy. It's crazy that you mentioned Numa Trio, because I was hoping you would have mentioned them when y'all were talking about Pretty Lights, because that was like such a segue into Pretty Lights too, or that kind of like Jamtronica, electronic fusion kind of type of feel, you know, was from Numa Trio, which you showed me Numa Trio at the comedy club. But yeah, it is really interesting too to hear lines like tapping break beats on a countertop, you know. So like I can actively remember so many kids in our school too, 7th, 8th grade, with pins, you know, tapping beats. And at the time I'm like, God, I wish they would stop. But like now you realize like there's musicians in every classroom. You just got to give them an outlet, right?
Yeah. This is the first time I'd ever listened to anything by Listen. First time I'd heard about him. Didn't know anything about it. Didn't know what it was when Anthony sent it. I just trusted that Anthony would send something worth listening to. And then Trey texted us and was like, broke it down with like who was in it and kind of gave me a brief rundown.
At first, Christian told you that it was a Pretty Lights thing because I wasn't going to say anything. And I texted Anthony and I was like, Blake doesn't know. And then Christian like told you, and I was like, "Damn it, that would have been a lot of fun to like reveal live." But sorry,
I probably would have seen it because I've been listening to it exclusively on Anthony's YouTube page, and he has it broken down at the bottom. But yeah, and I won't get into my opinions on it just yet, but I will say it was for the first time in a while like a brand new listening experience to something that isn't new music releasing. Like obviously when new music releases throughout the year, that's like a first rinse, but this is one of the first times in a while that I've listened to something brand new that's been out for a hot minute. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's do we'll start with our top tracks. Anthony, if you want to lead us off, if you got a top 3.
Yeah. So this album, you know, it's full of gold in my opinion, you know, but so to pick 3 was hard, but I tried to pick the ones that I think had like the most elements that resonated with me. First one is Lucidity. Lucidity starts off with a didgeridoo sound. It's like a warm drone. And all the lines, all the lyrics in that song, just all the lyrics in this album really like hit home to me, especially coming from somebody like Derek and the rest of the guys. You know, it's a special thing. So Lucidity, number 1, then they're not really in any order. One Way Street is another one. There's a line in that song, rainy days take me to strange moods. I mean, the whole song just kind of flows in this mindset that you can just get trapped in, and why would you want to leave? Last one, Laserbox. Oh, no, not Laserbox. Take that back. Swing Set, the closer. The closer of the album really just hits me in a spot that makes me want to replay it. You know, this is another album that regardless of wherever I start it, it's going to play all the way through, most likely. But yeah, Lucidity, One Way Street, Swing Set. Those are my 3.
Nice. Hell yeah. Trey, what do you got?
Anthony and I are pretty aligned on these things. So my first one and my clear number 1 favorite song, and one of my favorite songs of all time is Lucidity. So the guy who wrote Lucidity, Ken Daly, he's actually a philosophy professor now. And I don't know if you knew that, but yeah, so Ken Daly's like the coolest guy in this band. He's really? He's like went off grid, did a bunch of weird stuff. Now he's like a philosophy professor. I forget where, it's somewhere out west. But the chorus of that song, and I won't like read it all off, but can you conjure compassion, calibrate your inner light? Can you quiet your mind enough to truly listen? Would you cash in your comfort for a life altering vision? I just like have always thought that was like the coolest fucking line.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. My second favorite is One Way Street. I kind of have a couple like live memories with One Way Street. So in Nashville in 2016, Derek actually rapped the verse of One Way Street over We Must Go On, like the last half of We Must Go On. He rapped his verse, and then he also did a similar thing. Him and Michael performed One Way Street in its like totality at the Gorge, which was really, really cool to see them do that. And they also played like Waiting for Her right before, which is like a song they'd never played it live before, or he'd never played it live before. And then my third is Magic Penguin Circus and Laserbox, and I list them both because they're actually it's a two-part song. They have the same bass line. I don't know if you noticed that. And so Derek used to play the bass line going into Exodus pretty consistently live. So that's kind of like, I just figured I would put two instrumentals together. So yeah, Magic Penguin Circus and Laserbox are really good. And I think all the instrumentals were really strong on this record for the most part. There's a couple weak ones that we can get into when we go to bottom three, but I think Swing Set is really phenomenal. Honestly, Windshield is really, really good too. I would have Windshield, the opener. I would have that up there as well. So yeah.
Nice.
That Magic Penguin Circus too. And all the flutes on the album is Derek, so it's like, Derek, bring back the flute, bring back anything, but bring back the flute when you come back. Yeah.
When you come back, bring the flute with you.
Just walk out with just Derek and a flute, and then everyone's back. No harm, no foul.
The skin would fall off my body.
Dude, I just melt. Me personally, hottest take I've ever had, he should come back only analog sets from here on out.
Be careful what you wish for.
Shut the fuck up.
Dude, we make a trip.
We out in the universe.
We make a trip down to New Orleans and stumble into some jazz bar, and it's just him sadly in the corner just playing the flute. That's it.
That would be epic.
That'd be sick.
With his like 6'8" frame, he's like hunched over on a small stool with like a single fucking glass of whiskey next to him, half drank. All right, Christian, what do you got for top three?
So all of my top three are pretty much like instrumental songs. It's just like, I don't know what you want to call the vocals or the rapping. I don't know if you call it rapping or just like talking. It just doesn't do it for me. It's very like if Rage Against the Machine like had no rage.
Just the machine. Just against the machine.
Or if like atmosphere like never made it out of the basement. Like they didn't reach the atmosphere. That's what it's like to me. And the worst thing about it is like it gave Michael Minert, and I'm not going to say anything about Derek, but it gave Michael Minert the okay to rap publicly, which should just never happen ever. I think this gave him that like confidence. But my
he kind of didn't do it for a long time. It took him a while to get back to it, but I get what you're saying.
He probably stumbled across this on YouTube and was like, damn, this kind of slaps.
So really it's Anthony's fault is what you're saying.
No, listen, Michael, if you're listening right now, don't listen to these shitheads right now. Find the masters for this album, release it, re-release 2023, listen One Piece Puzzle. All right? God, that'd be so sick. Yeah, don't shit on him, man. It's coming one day.
So my top three, Swing Set, obviously, just Beautiful. Because it's how I came into this, how Anthony showed me. And it really is reminiscent to me of like Battlestar Scratch Lactica kind of like Kyoto times that. For number two, I had 12 for Years. and then I have Windshield, which Trey, I think you just mentioned. I think as far as the production on this, for me, it aged really, really well. And it really pulls me in through that evolution of Pretty Lights. But yeah, those are my top three.
Nice.
All right, Mr. Newbie.
So, okay. So, I am with Christian. I picked only instrumental songs, and I'll get more into why I did that when we talk bottom tracks. But first track, Windshield, I think it's a perfect opening to this project. It's a perfect introduction. Like, listening to Windshield, what this album is going to be like. Like, it very much sets a tone in a way that some people are kind of hit or miss with their opening tracks. And, there are people that have skits, like JID's album starts with a skit and stuff like that. And I don't think it really sets a tone. And I think this does it perfectly. Magic Penguin Circus is the next. So fucking good. To me, like Christian said, Magic Penguin Circus is what feels the most Iodo-like to me. Like, it's there's these weird kind of electronic blends in it, and there are portions of it that have this weird kind of offbeat rhythm to it, like towards the end, that normally I fucking hate, but for some reason I just like really like. It was one of those moments where I'm like trying to bob my head, but you can't keep up with the way to do it because it's the fucking rhythms all over the place, but it worked really well for that song. So I really enjoyed Magic Penguin Circus. It's just like beautiful chaos to me. And then Swing Set is beautiful. just like Windshield is a perfect opening. I think Swing Set is like the perfect closer. It's kind of just bringing you back down to earth after going through this. And again, the instrumentals, to me, really take the vocals take a back seat for me. Like, the instrumentals are very much the thing that drew me into the album and that I enjoyed the most about it. So having those songs where you get to just hang out and focus on those instrumentals, it makes the tracks better to me. So yeah, those are my top three.
Yeah, I think too, these instrumentals, they're bridges between all these songs, and it makes it flow as one whole piece where, like, that's the way that I would want someone to take in this album as a whole versus chopping it up and selecting songs, and it's kind of a new, in this age that we're in, people send each other tracks and all, but like, does that track bring you into the album? And I think really, if you were to send any of these one tracks to anybody, they're going to be like, this is interesting, right? Give me more. And then snowballing into Listen World, really.
Yeah, Jalen actually brought that up when we had him on. He talked about, like, with Rides or Dies, when Christian and Trey sent him tracks, like, he had said that, I think it was Christian's track specifically, but he was like, the song was so good that it made me want to go listen to the rest of the album. Whereas, like, there are not a lot of projects where you can individually pick out songs. Like, if I were to pick like a hip hop album I really like, I'd probably send the best one. Whereas this is kind of a project where you can send anything and it's going to make people want to be like, okay, well, what is the rest of this about? Which I think is cool.
Yeah, I will say that, like, I thought that you guys would probably much prefer the instrumental songs over the ones with lyrics. And, there's a reason that both of these guys who produce this grew up to be major producers. One a major producer, one maybe a minor producer.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. But like, they didn't grow up to become professional or rappers, right? Like, they grew up, they became producers. That's obviously going to be what their strong suit is. Right. But I love seeing the rap side of them. I much prefer to see it on this record than see it live with Derek with a microphone in his hand.
I think it's good that Derek is so large in stature, because I don't think Michael would be able to fit into his backpack as well if Derek wasn't as big as he is.
Michael's like 6'5". He's not small himself.
That must really hurt Derek's back to be carrying him around his whole fucking career. That's got to be exhausting.
Well, there's a whole interesting backstory. I won't go so far deep into it, but like, when Derek and Michael were the original Pretty Lights, like, the first album is them two producing it, I'm pretty sure. And then there was a stabbing or something with Michael, some incident that I don't know full details, but like, he was in the hospital for a long time, and then Derek kind of and then that's kind of how it goes. But to see them
Michael got arrested for something. I don't know. I think it was narcotics dealing. He got arrested, and then that's when Taking Up Your Precious Time, like right after it had come out. And so he got arrested, so then Derek had to start playing shows without him, and then he got out of jail, and right when he got out of jail, he got stabbed. Or vice versa. One of the two things happened.
Jesus Christ. I got dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, super unlucky situation.
Right, and y'all shit on him.
Well, I mean, I think they both had to do with the same thing, which is, dealing drugs. You got to keep your hands stronger than that if you're in the streets. So, sorry, Michael.
Trey knows a lot about that.
Yeah, I do. That never would have happened to me in Helena, Alabama, where I grew up.
I'm honestly planning for the same thing to happen to both of you right when this podcast starts to take off, and then I'm going to run this whole bitch.
We're going to get stabbed.
And then you'll be a landlord before you know it, Christian.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Christian Vincent Smith at your service.
Can you imagine something happens to us and we come back to Christian like playing totally biased music arena shows, like live podcast arena? He's like selling out Madison Square Garden. We're like, this is our whole shit, man. What the fuck?
Doing Ariana Grande albums or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And y'all can reunite at the Gorge, and then everything will be happy-go-lucky after that.
Yeah, we'll give each other a big hug after I tweet about Christian aggressively for like 3 years.
Yeah. Okay, Anthony, what do you have
to give me weed?
What do you have for bottom tracks, if you have any? You can pull a Trey and not get any bottom tracks.
Every week when I listen, I have that same mindset as Trey, where it's like, I can always find something that I like out of these tracks to just say, I can find something rather than pick some bottom tracks. But I did pick 3 bottom tracks, and it was basically the tracks I didn't have notes on. So the 3 tracks I had are Future Powered, Earthquake, and For Years. But the thing about Earthquake that I did find interesting, because I think that's like the one track that I may sometimes skip it if I'm listening just like, actively. But if I want to listen to the whole album, I let it play out. And then the end of the track, they use some sort of computer generated thing to spell out listen, which I thought was kind of cute. But either way, those 3 would be the last bottom 3 for me.
That's fair. Trey?
It is kind of cute, first off.
Right.
But I also have Earthquake as my number 1 bottom track. And this is just a lesson for bands everywhere. Don't let your drummer sing. Don't ever let your drummer sing. Just don't. Like, you might think it sounds good.
Collins.
And the band.
Yeah, but like it didn't work for the Beatles, and it doesn't work for Listen. So yeah, I have, and I think Corey Everhart's a pretty cool guy. We tweeted each other a couple times or whatever, no clout or anything. Yeah, I know. I hate myself too.
Yeah. There's no clout around that. Thank you for verifying for everyone else.
I have more Twitter followers than he does. But yeah. So that, and then First Prize. I'm not a huge fan of that song in general. And then it was kind of tough to pick a third one. Those 2 kind of jump off the page for me for songs I don't particularly care for. So I just kind of went with what I would consider kind of one of the weaker tracks, which is Present Position.
Okay, very fair.
Yeah, but I really like the way Present Position ends and leads into Magic Queen Circus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like the beat at the beginning of it's kind of tight too. But also Corey's on the hook on that, and it just doesn't sound good. His voice isn't great. So, Blake, what were your bottom 3?
Okay, so listen. I hate to say this.
Hey.
I hate to say this.
Before we go to this negative side that it was inevitable from the 2 of you, can we talk about how great a band name is? Listen, with a period at the end of it. That is just
pretty great.
It is good.
It's an elite band name. Yeah.
I will give them that.
Elite.
Here's the deal. Any song that has Derek and vocals is a bottom track for me. So I think he's on. How many is he on? Let's see. He's on 4 songs, so those are my bottom 4. This dude, in his kids bop ass rapping, dude, like, just stop. He raps like paraplegic swim, okay? It is so fucking bad. Like, literally, like, he seriously raps like he's auditioning for kids bop. He's like, he's like, yeah, and you know what? I'm feeling fine. Glad I got this pen to draw the line. Like it
no, dude, that bar's so like, good.
It really is.
Fuller, like trying to conceive what he would think is appropriate rap music for his parents to let him sing. That's what it sounds like. So any song with Derek on vocals is a hard fucking dies for me. And honestly, I made it through, but they were so bad it almost made me stop listening. I had to, like, the third one came on, I was like, I'm not doing this, and I just straight up went to the next song. The other vocals, Penn Daly, like you said, Lucidity is great. I vibe with Lucidity. I like everybody else when they come in the vocals. It's great. Derek, stick to the producing, man, and stick to renting units. Like, this is not your shtick.
We gotta run back to the draw the line because that's one of my favorite lines on the album.
Of course it is. That fits
trying to find a
so
bridge to
perfectly.
cross my mind. I'm just glad I had a pin to draw the line, like a sidewalk crack or a branch of a tree, perfect as a crooked line ever could be. I want to leave the ground and breathe the air. Some day is every day for all I care. Like,
okay,
dude,
see, it's
that
poetry.
bar is
Listen,
amazing.
It's
dude.
great. It's great when you say it like that, but with Derek's like, and I gotta draw the line. Like, that's what he sounds like. He sounds like it's just so fucking bad, dude.
Man.
I can't.
But see, Blake, all right, so had you not had the credits or known that it was Derek, like, well, tell me, when you
His
found out it
sounds so Derek-esque.
But, like, would the hate be so strong, right? I don't know.
Listen, if it was delivered in the exact same manner, absolutely. Absolutely, the hate would be just strong.
He's on his hill. Blake is dying on his hill. I respect that. But
that's really the only part I don't like, really, to be completely honest. So I think that's pretty fair, you know?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not if you just pick the songs that he was just featured on, because you can just see that there, you know? But, like, I think respecting that Derek is a lyricist, you know, and given that, like, all the music that he's produced and put out, none of them have his voice on it, you know? So, like, you've only heard his voice live or on this, you know? And also, let's be perfectly clear, this is Uncle D we're talking about. This is not Derek.
I don't understand. It's AES, which I don't know. Do you remember what that stands for by chance?
I have no idea. I would like to find out, though.
Yeah. So that's mine. Christian, what do you got,
bro? Yeah, I mean, mine are going to be 3 with just vocals, and I think what is said is fine. I get it. I'm not a person that generally likes, like, philosophically happy, like, deep type of, you know, for when it comes to, like, rapping and type. It's not just what I enjoy, but the delivery is just what gets me. It is, I would say, like, kids bop, but it's very much like elementary school sing song along ish to me. The ones that just got me, though, like, put me in a furious rage. So present position, who is this? Who's the guy on that one? Because he should be immediately put in fucking jail.
It's Corey Everhard, Y-Rock.
Because the drummer.
The drummer. Like, don't let your drummer sing.
You know what it reminded me of? Have y'all seen the movie I Love You, Man?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know where he has to go on that date with that squeaky dude who's like the gym trainer?
Yes.
That's what it reminded me of, too.
You can't have a serious conversation with that person.
Yeah, I was done. Earthquake was just nah.
Yeah.
Nothing quaked. It's like 80s rap music was turned into it's like 80s rap music was turned into a parody by white people and put over dance music.
God
damn.
And
the end of that song, again, it is childlike. You know, I think there is like an innocence to, like, a xylophone playing L-I-S-T-E-N, right?
I think a lot of Listen is childlike, actually, like, in a good way. I think that's kind of part of the whole thing. I mean, they were kids, you know, I think 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yeah, they rap like it.
Whatever, man.
And then
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
My last one's future powered.
Gotcha.
Okay. Just wasn't it.
So I do have to ask, like, lyrically, did you guys like the lyrics and you didn't like the sound of the voice and the delivery?
For me,
I can enjoy some of the lyrics. It's just not what I like generally when it comes to lyrics. It's very like this attempt to be philosophical and a delivery method that it just doesn't hit for me. I think there's ways to, I don't know if it's like saying it in a different way. It just like something about it doesn't hit for me.
See, I think most of it's not overhanded. Like, I think it hits, and I think a lot of that is because it's spaced out with instrumentals. From like a concept standpoint. Sorry, Blake, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're good. For me, it's absolutely the delivery, like 100%. It's not the lyrics at all. Like I said, like it's like that one verse on the Portugal the Man album when I read it, and you're like, oh, I like it when you read it, but like I didn't. It's the same thing. Like when you read the lyrics, I was like, look, those are pretty good lyrics, but the way that Derek raps like a 14-year-old that just heard his first Eminem album is just like, it doesn't do it for me. It ruins it. It honestly reminds me of, and I hate to say this because I don't want to slander one of my favorite artists' names, but Mac's early work is really corny with like his delivery on a lot of his very early music, and it like reminds me a lot of that. I hate using this word because I know it's overused, but it was just so cringe, dude. I was like actually cringing, like goosebumps cringe. Like, I hope no one hears me listening to this. So
really,
wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I know Christian has. I'm assuming Trey has. Blake, have you met Derek in person before? Because he is a big ass goofball. I mean, like,
I don't believe
that's the perception that I got from him, was that he is big, giant, goofy. You know, and like that's how he performs as well. You know,
he dresses goofy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Along with the entire Pretty Lights music fan base.
Yeah,
go again on that shit. Hey,
okay, sorry.
I just tried to look up on PLF what AES stands for, and like the first 3 posts about Listen are you, me, and Joe Liebson, my roommate.
Right. It's still like very not known, and that's one thing that like I would. This is an album that again I would like put it. I've done this. I've put it in a blank CD case and just placed them random places, and written little notes like if this moves you, you know, share it with somebody, and if not, just bring it back and put it back where it was, you know. But this album has always been something that I just wanted to put in people's ears and just like let them take it however they want to take it, whether they shit on it, whether they love it, whether they share it, or they've never listened to it again. It's fine, but like it definitely, in my mind, you know, deserves some sort of like, you know, absorption from people.
Yeah. That's actually a great fucking idea. Honestly, leaving the CD cases around. That's fucking tight.
So you.
Yeah, that is very Anthony, dude.
It's a wholesome fucking thing to do.
You know, but I'm gonna do that, but it's gonna be a 3-hour fish set. They're gonna be like, "Is this one song? What is happening?
Where's the end?"
There is no end, brother.
That's smart, brother. Who was it?
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do the same thing, but it's literally just gonna be me making goo goo gaga baby noises on the floor.
No, and you put baby making music on there, and like it is gonna get listened to, no doubt.
Trey, was it you that told me that Adam Hauser like used to do that thing where he'd be like, I'm going to stay in the car until the song finishes, but it would be like a Fish song live, and Trey would be like, all right, man, well, it's like, it's like 15 minutes.
It was so annoying. Like, it was before I really liked, the way I got to enjoy Fish was Adam Hauser just beat me over the head with it. Like, literally, we would sit in his drum room, and he would just play drums, playing along to Fish, and like I'd walk out, my ears ringing or whatever. But yeah, we would be like going somewhere. We hung out all the time at the time, and we'd pull up and it'd be 25 minutes of us just sitting there listening to Tweezer. Like I'm barely exaggerating. It was ridiculous. And then one time it happened when we were in a particularly interesting state of mind, and like it was like raining and like the water droplets were like bouncing off of like a street light. Like it was like just hitting the car super weird. We're like just sitting there listening to Chalk Dust Torture. It's actually a pretty incredible moment.
That sounds great.
God damn, bro, we just came to get a Gatorade from 7-Eleven. What the fuck are we doing?
I was going to understand how the universe works in thousands of different ways and interacts with everything while just waiting to get for Tweezer to end.
Trey looks up at the gas station's closed. He's like, I thought this was 24/7, man. How long have we been here?
Same song. Same song.
Rainy days, they take me to strange moods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's another thing, you know, it's like an album like this, you can focus on certain things or you can just purely get lost in it. You know, that's another, I think, interesting quality or character trait of this album is that it can be thought-provoking if you lose yourself in it, right? But I think if you do focus on certain aspects too much, then that will, you know, taint your point of view of it. So I hope you do it again, Blake, and give it a listen, but don't let Derek fuck with you.
I'll try my best. Well, you're right. Like music like this and electronic music for sure. I think anything with not a ton of vocals in it is like what you're saying, right? You can really like dive in and focus on particular things and pull something out of it, or you can kind of just get lost in kind of that journey of that music. And I think a really good example of that is Paracosm by Bass Nectar.
Yeah.
Where like Paracosm, the first time I listened to it, I thought it was like an extremely sad song. Like it just came off as really depressing and like emotionally heavy. But then I talked to a girl whose name I will not mention, and she was like, I think it's sexy. And then I listened to it in a different light and was like, this song is kind of sexy, actually, now that I think about it, in like a weird, sad way. So it's like songs like that, if you really focus on them, you can kind of pull different things from them, which is interesting.
Bro, shut the fuck. That's not what happened. You literally got fucking blocked by the pussy to like literally tell you like you got all horned up and we're like, she could have played the Barney fucking theme song and been like, it's actually kind of sexy. And you'd have been like, actually.
First off, have you listened to the Barney theme song recently? Because you're kind of making some solid points.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony, give it a rating. What do you give it out of 10?
I give it a 10, man. You know, I'm only gonna, if you guys bring me back on here, I'm only gonna bring 10. So like, prepare yourself for that. You know, I mean, there's songs that I could do without, but again, look at it as a whole, you know, piece of art in its entirety, because the songs segue into each other so beautifully that, I mean, it's one you put on and can't turn off. So 10 for me.
That's fair. Trey?
I give it a 9. I think just the uniqueness of it being like an instrumental, you know, especially kind of this is a pretty cutting edge as far as like these type of instrumentals go. Like y'all said, SES9, Numa Trio, those cats were kind of doing it, but I'm sorry, I just said cats.
God damn it. I'm glad you caught yourself before Christian got to you. I'm glad you got it before Christian got to you, bro.
Yeah, I know. I got there. Oh, fuck. So they were doing this type of sound, but I think it's pretty monumental. And I just think that it's a really good look into like kind of the concepts of pretty lights, like I said before. And obviously anything that is pretty lights, I'm going to give a pretty high rating to. So yeah, I give it a 9. Phenomenal.
Christian?
I'm going to give it a 6.5. As far as like I enjoyed the album. I love where it came from. I love to see evolution pieces like this and something that hasn't touched. I think listening to something like this also pushes me into things that I really haven't listened to in a long time, like going into Yoda or going into like, you know, other Listen albums or really old school PL, or even, I'll say it, even some old school Michael Minert or whatever it might be. And those type of sounds that it triggers, you just don't hear as often anymore, especially in electronic music, even with people who are trying to do similar sound as PL, whether it be like Daily Bread or somebody. It's not anywhere close to what they did. And I think this album kind of shows that. Vocally, not there for me, but it's something that I'll always appreciate.
That's fair. I was going to give it a 6.5, but in honor of the fact that the national championship is almost over and TCU has only scored 7 points, I'm going to give it a 7. So I think like Christian kind of hit the nail on the head. Like I think it runs a little long. I think an hour and 15 minutes is a little long for this type of project for me personally. And you could cut out, I think if you cut out the Derek tracks, not only would it drop it to 13 tracks, which I feel like is more manageable, but then I don't have to listen to Derek. So that would up it for me. But I think 7 is solid. I mean, I definitely enjoyed listening to it. Like it is very cohesive as a project, and the opener and the closer are perfect for the album. So they did a really, really good job there. So that's where I'm going to put it at. Any final thoughts from anybody?
No. Well, let me ask all three of you guys this. All right, if this album was produced or manufactured on vinyl, are all of you buying it? Christian?
Yes. Just to have it. I mean, like, not because I absolutely love it, but because of the journey, the aspect of what it represents for PL.
Yeah.
A, absolutely. B, I've been meaning to tell you about this. I was at a guy's house in Atlanta a few weekends ago, and he has a hard copy, a CD.
Did he make it in? Oh, he has a CD.
He has a CD hard copy.
Okay. Because there is somebody out there who basically just paid to have one vinyl produced of this album, you know, which I was like, fuck, I don't know the legality of it. I don't know who owns the masters of this album, but fuck, I would love it.
At some point, Michael was like, Michael and someone else, they were trying to sell like pins or something to be able to raise funds to like remaster it or re-release it or something.
Yeah. There's GoFundMe's out there, but most of the GoFundMe is like to recover hard drives that are damaged for some reason. I mean, there's a
live
listen
show.
crew.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It was a live show. They were trying to get, like, they need to recover or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a Listen Crew Facebook page. Let's see. Yeah, there's a Listen Crew Facebook page, which probably has like, I don't know, 500 people following it right now. But there's like the only post on there is the GoFundMe, so you can find it on there. But again, it's like years old, so I don't know what the status is on that.
Just make sure that GoFundMe doesn't go to Michael Monurks. He'll just use it to try and pay rent or buy weed.
I would like to. Last thought for me, I would like to correct myself. Michael and Derek played "Angel on My Shoulder" at the Gorge, not "Let's Go Home."
Yeah, they might have played "Mow the Lawn" too. Something Colorado. They did not
play Mow the Lawn. No.
Okay. But they're both actively mowing lawns.
Max, yeah.
I would
like the chorus says, "Smoke the crawn, don't mow the lawn."
Oh my god, my head.
Yeah, there's two other albums, Blake.
Yeah, Blake. Yeah, Listen Cares. Listen Cares is almost all rap.
I would. Oh, that sounds awful. I would buy a vinyl. I would buy a vinyl of it for sure, just to hear it like on a vinyl, hear what it sounds like. Actually, you know what? I would have a vinyl gifted to me. I don't know if I would purchase it, but if somebody gave it to me as a gift, I wouldn't give it back to them. I think would be a good way to put it.
All right. I hear that.
Okay,
now we know how to get you one.
So that was One Piece Puzzle by Listen. We hope you guys enjoyed, and we hope that you listened if you hadn't heard it before. The link was on last episode's description, but I'll put it in this one too. If you guys want to listen to it, give it a shot. Let us know what you think. And with that being said, shall we roll into some rides or dies, boys?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, lead us off.
All right, so my song is called, I think it rings true, Planting Seeds, and anything that I share with people, whether it's you guys, whether it's anyone else, there's always something back there. I want that song to lead you into more of it. And, this song is by a band called Dredge, who I discovered through Spotify. And up until this summer, I had no interest in Spotify, period. Cause I'm like, what's it going to do for me? But I was listening to Incubus and this song came on and just led me down a complete rabbit hole of like, where has Dredge been my whole life? Honestly, it's had a major impact on me. And, they're a very like secluded band, but this song really spoke to me. And honestly, I have not stopped listening to Dredge daily. It really is something that has impacted me.
Anthony, streaming has its benefits,
One, and it did. I pay for Spotify. I actually give them money for their services. So thank you, Dredge. Dredge, you get all the credit for that. But yeah, this song is fucking powerful. It has all the different elements of rhythms that I like, and powerful vocals, and it has climaxes and come downs. So I really, really love it.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Rides. Fuck yeah.
Trey, what do you think?
So I listened to the song. This is like if Muse was a good band. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, pointless shot at Muse there. That's all right.
I really don't like Muse, but Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. It's interesting. It's got definitely that early 2000s vibe to it. But I really enjoyed it. I would give it a hard ride stamp.
Yeah.
Nice. Christian?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a ride. It's the second that you said Incubus, I started to laugh because it's immediately what I thought about. The cool thing about this that was different for me, and Incubus does a good job about it, but I think they do it a little bit more through the entirety of an album where it feels like a journey, whereas this kind of had that through a singular track, which I thought was really cool. There's like Incubus, as you're playing through, it really takes you through, but each song is its individual little point, and this just like really took you through. It had, like you said, those ebbs and flows. This rides fucking slaps. I'm gonna be diving into this like a motherfucker tomorrow.
Enjoy, dude. The whole album is exactly what you described. You know, it does it. Fucking makes me so happy.
I listened to most of the album when I was shopping in Target because it's a thing I do now every day, and it is fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I was wondering. I was trying to put my finger on like what it sounded like to me. I'm glad that you said Incubus because it was like on the tip of my tongue. It's like it had a very familiar feel to it, but I didn't know what it was. But it did, like Trey said, it has like that early 2000s feel to it. But I really enjoyed it, and I didn't think about going back and listening to the whole album just because I was trying to get through everybody's rides or dies. But I need to go back and listen to more of it because I do like this type of music, and it just reminded me we should definitely do an Incubus album. That would be great.
I would love to do Morning View.
But yeah, hard rides.
Yeah, I want to mention one more thing about this band because they're their own like entity, you know, and like you can look up things online and there's not a lot of content about Dredge out there, but people who are into it are like completely balls deep. Like it has really impacted a lot of people, but they don't have this big notoriety, you know, so like that's exactly what I wanted this album to do for you guys was like just tip that little peek behind the veil and then y'all just go all in because like I have not stopped, honestly. And it's so fucking cool.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Christian, you want to go next?
Yeah, I had a hard time. Didn't have anything I was like really, really blasting, but then I realized that this has just been kind of a staple in my past couple of weeks. It's a song called Thread by Supertask. It's definitely it's one of his earlier works, like 2019, I think. And it's a little fucking heavier, and it's got these just like ebbs and flows throughout where there's these small little tweaks and changes that I just absolutely love. So that's my track for the week.
I'm going to lead this off. Christian, my musical soulmate. My musical brother in arms. Every time Christian picks a rise or a dies, I think 9 times out of 10, it feels like he's speaking to me directly.
You gotta deal with, dude. You gotta fucking deal with.
He just knows, dude. He just knows, man. The second I heard this shit pick up and come in,
just fuck already.
I was half chub, and then it really picked up. I was full torqued, just fucking vibing, dude. This is the type of shit that I need in my life. You know, and Christian, fellow tat daddy, fellow gym rat, he gets it. You know, this is what I need in my morning gym routine. So hard fucking rides, best rides or dies of this particular episode. I will say that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Really,
fellow alpha male. I appreciate
it's just
you.
that alpha male energy, bro. You wouldn't get it because you're more of a Sigma, so.
I want to jump through a window.
All right, Trey, what did you think?
No, go to Anthony first. I got to take a second.
All right, we'll give Trey a reprieve over there. He'll take 5. I dug it. You know, I dig this song. You know, it's not like I don't have this crazy ejac in my pants like Blake, but it is very good. It is very good. You know, I mean, it's heavy, it's vibey, it's got that Future Purple vibe to it, you know, that I can get down with, but like I'm only going to play it once, but I like it. So fair. It rides.
Fair.
I was actually quite bored with this song. I mean, I like Supertask, so I was surprised. I thought it was just kind of average. It's not something I would have sent for rides or dies. That's all I can tell you. So I'm gonna give it.
What the fuck that's supposed to mean?
I mean, it's just kind of like it was just kind of a run of the mill. Like, I mean, it wasn't bad, you know. Right. But like Anthony said, I listened to it once and I'm giving it a dies.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It is like my opinion, man.
Okay, Trey, what was your song?
So I was trying to get y'all kind of in the mood for Listen, and Atmosphere is a huge inspiration for Derek and Michael. And so I picked one of my favorite Atmosphere songs, which is God's Bathroom Floor, which I think is a really, really phenomenal song, primarily centering around like addiction and things of that nature. What y'all think?
I'll say it was. I liked it. I like Atmosphere. I don't listen to Atmosphere enough. I probably should try to give it more of a shot. But I like the song. I'll give it a ride. It's not like I was pretty much flaccid the whole time I listened to it, but it was still good. So I'll give it a ride. Nice pick, Trey. A rare W from Trey in the Rides or Die segment.
Look at that.
Tally up all the rides you've given me because I'm pretty sure you're at like 80% rides, just so you know.
Anthony, what'd you think?
Yeah. First off, speaking on like how we've kind of discovered music, Christian was the first person to show me Atmosphere back whenever Trying to Find a Balance was a track that I had never heard before, and he plays that and I'm like, God, this is fucking sick. So Trey, thank you for bringing this back into my life because I fucking love Atmosphere. Again, I don't listen to it as much either, but this thing fucking rides. That's for sure.
Yeah, I just go through long periods of time without listening to Atmosphere, and then I remember that I like them a lot and love the production and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad you had that experience as well.
Yeah, and there was one quick note on have any of y'all seen Atmosphere live before?
I have several times when they open for PL.
Yeah. He it was Revolution, Atmosphere, Bass Nectar, same stage, Friday the 13th at Forecastle one year. And that was my only time seeing him live, but he puts on a hell of a fucking show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's fantastic.
What's his name? Slug or something?
Slug is the guy. Slug
the rapper?
is the guy who produces, I think. I forget.
Do you know the MC's name?
Who's the other guy? Is it Eli or something?
I'm looking it up.
I want to say it's like Big Slug or something.
Hold on, Jamie. I can look this up for you.
All right.
In the meantime, Christian, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've dabbled in Atmosphere. I haven't. There's certain tracks that I just fall in love with. That Trying to Find a Balance that Anthony mentioned was one. I'm pretty sure it was from like an old school Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's just hard as fuck and kind of has these little ebbs and flows. But this song it's just fucking great. It's extremely deep, and a lot of my friends like here, my buddy Phil, who I think he's maybe like my roommate, he's like 2 or 3 years completely sober, and it's like a song that consistently he's always kind of playing around the house, and it's just it's an amazing song. So rides.
Nice. My song was Fly Kicks Wax Motif Remix by AC Slater. And let me say something real quick. I'm entering my jaded basshead retired jam kid era, and I only listen to house music now. It is all I've listened to.
Welcome.
That's great.
For the past 3 days, I have put hip hop on the back burner, bro, for the first time in my life, and all I can listen to is house music. It has sucked me in. I cannot escape. It has its claws deep in me. And so I picked a house song just to let you guys know where I was at musically in my life. So
I want to go first.
Okay, Trey.
You sure you want me? Yeah, I'm about to say.
Yeah, let me go first.
Let Trey go.
Let me tell you, Blake, I love this.
What?
I love the song. I love the phase. Anthony, you're just behind, brother.
Oh, man.
You're not as tired as the rest of us.
Anthony, it's coming for you, bro.
Oh,
it's coming for you, man. If there's just something that happens where it just starts to make sense all of a sudden, and you're like, wait a second, I love this. This summer I went and saw this guy named Chris Lake at Bonnaroo. It was like a super late night show. Blake, I tried to get you to come. And we just had the absolute best time. We weren't even really drinking or doing anything. It was just house music till like 4 a.m. They kept playing until like 5. We're like, we got to go back to bed. Dude, it's just something you could do all night, man.
I will say, I was in the rare camp when Bass Nectar played Deep Down Low in Atlanta. I thought that shit was tight. And everybody was on the socials blasting Lauren for playing Deep Down Low. And I was in the crowd throwing that ass in a fucking circle. All right.
The dance move you're doing, because I remember it specifically.
Now, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about Lauren and house music. Lauren Bassector is a producer that you can trust is going to lead you where you want to go. Right. So like I can get down to deep.
I mean, I think there's some people that might disagree with that.
Okay. Some people may not want to go there and it may not be consensual.
Some 15-year-old girl.
But here's the thing, musically, rhythmically, okay, like I can get down to Deep Down Low because I know I'm only going to hear it for 10 seconds and then it's going to go into some breakbeat shit, right? But if you give me a 3-minute house track, I'm struggling. Didn't mean to steal your ride's thunder, Trey, but like, this one, I was hoping that all the tracks were going to ride, but no, this one dies very hard for me. I'm sorry.
Anthony's like, Lauren's the type of guy that will lead you directly into the hotel room he wants you to go in.
You got to shower first. He needs you to shower and clean yourself.
Oh God!
Before he enters you.
What do you think?
You know where I was when Bassector played that song in Atlanta. I was in the hotel room.
He was in the hotel room.
Christian had to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
I was tripping too hard, guys. Anyways, I've been in a house phase.
True.
It happened to me, and Blake texted me in a panic, and he goes, "I don't know what's going on." And I said, "Listen, take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. It is what happens. You kind of go from this bass head mode. Some people get into a little bit of jam, and then out of nowhere, it just, like Trey said, it just starts to click.
Reddit,
this song rides.
It arrives all the same,
and on top of it." Just to solidify Blake into this new phase, I have a 25-hour house-only Spotify music playlist that I sent him.
It's funny because like I've talked to so many people that have this exact same feeling where they're like, "Oh, I'm older now, and now I like house music."
It just comes for you, dude.
It just comes for you.
I don't get it.
You either die here, or you live long enough to see yourself love house music and country music. I don't know what the fuck the deal is.
Exactly.
I want to put it on the record now that if I get into that phase, I want you guys to bring me back and replay this podcast to me, because like I can't foresee myself just being like in a house show. Like I don't think you'll ever see me at a house show. Like it is too repetitive.
I think you would really enjoy it because like it's very, and this is like all jokes aside, it's very artful what they do with the layers of music, where they're taking these layers and like making the backbeat for, it's like just like complete cycles constantly happening. That's why you can dance to it for 12 hours. Because like there's always something going on to listen to. Like once you really start listening to it, then it just like it almost like shows you a whole new world.
Well, really I can't dance that long because I have bad knees now, because that's how old I am. But if I had better knees. Okay, so
like
that
maybe
was
you should start doing drugs again.
Right. that was Rides or Dies. I will link the tracks in the description below. And now, with that being said, we are on to the final and most important segment of the show. It's time to see if Trey really brought his A game like he's supposed to do with our guests. Ladies and gentlemen.
Let me get my drums. Welcome to Trey's Terrible Twitter Takes. My name is Trey, and I'll be your host for the evening. All right, here we go. Okay, so Blake, you're gonna love this. This is from Pop Bass, and I just want to let you know the M&Ms are set to release their first ever all-female character packages. So it's a picture. Cool, it's a picture of the 3 female M&Ms. Which I guess they just like made those up. I'm not really sure why M&Ms have to have some form of like gender or whatever. But where's this?
Wasn't green always sexy lady green M&M?
Yes, but
is that real?
But then, as Tucker Carlson aptly pointed out, they made her not sexy anymore. Unfortunately.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson got pissed about it. But then they made a purple one, and she is just as sexy.
Oh wow! Okay, I'm into that.
So someone just quoted it and just said not the purple M&M being a third wheel, and says, "Good morning. This is a reminder that brown M&M is a trans lesbian dating the green M&M." So I should make sure that we're all on the same page
here. Have they ever made tie-dye M&Ms or like mixy color, different color ones ever?
No, they haven't, but they should.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, they will.
Multiracial M&Ms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it has to come. All right. This one is from @meltedcomputer. And it says in parentheses, climbing out of a hole. Hey, you have to try that hole. I don't even think it's sexual. I think you just put a hole in the ground. This one is from a longtime listener of ours. This is from @Chad Underwood.
Yeah.
So I don't know if y'all have heard about this, but DirecTV is losing NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah.
Like, I know you don't care because you only watch NBA basketball, but Chad says, RIP DirecTV NFL Sunday Ticket. You have truly been awful for years. We all hate you and are super glad you are gone.
Yes.
And I just wanted to point out that I really hope that someone says this exact same thing about me on Twitter after I die.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be sure to do that for you.
You've truly been awful for years. We all hate you and are super glad you're gone. This one is from @Didn't Urgently. My ducks in a row, ordered, disciplined, behaving predictably. Your ducks scattered in disarray, waddling aimlessly, desperate for a leader to impose structure. Pathetic.
That's good. I liked it.
Okay.
I would like to see ducks in a row. And then some fucked up ducks. Some scattered everywhere.
This one is from @ProfitHusband. Smoking weed in 1976. I'm going to have groovy sex with an incredibly stinky woman. Smoking weed in 2022. If my vape is out of battery, I will literally kill myself.
Oh, it's great.
And I have like one or two more, but
hit us with it.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on. One moment. @Roll Diggity, aka Matt Roller. So this guy rolling. He said 50 years ago, if you wanted to see a picture of a raccoon, you either had to already have it or drive to a library. And a raccoon in a funny hat, fucking forget about it.
It's true. It's very true.
It really is. Where's this Reddit post that I wanted to have? Where are you, Reddit post?
That you should have had pulled up.
Yeah, you should
have. I have so many tabs like of these. Like, listen, I'm spit out a bunch because we have a guest.
Right, but who's doing better tonight, TCU or Trey's Twitter?
Oh,
it's pretty close, Trey, I like the Ducks tweet. I like. I was gonna,
for the record, I was gonna wear these IMAX 3D glasses. I was gonna have everyone wear them, but then I realized that only 3 of us would have them because Trey.
Yeah, it's true.
Trey, you still haven't seen Avatar, have you?
I literally told you I'm kicking you out of the band if you don't fucking see it. You're so lucky that we ran long on time and I didn't want to talk about it. You fucking bitch. I swear to God. Can you describe for everybody what happened to you, what Trey put you through real quick before we end this? Just let us know how it went down. Yeah.
Well, I had the whole night planned, right? We were going to meet in the parking lot. We were going to walk in together. I was going to get his ticket for him, right? And then I'm sitting in there, seat saved and all warm, and get a phone call saying, I forgot. So my heart dropped.
Damn.
Walked into the bathroom, hit the vape all by myself, walked in, saw a cinematic marvel. Solo.
What happened was when we
Anthony's crying in the stall. Someone's like, "Yo, man, are you okay?"
Yeah, right.
When we had made the
need
plans,
a minute.
I'd been on a 2-day bender and hadn't slept, like a bender's bender.
Personal
like
choice.
Futurama's bender.
Yeah.
And I just completely didn't remember that we made those plans. That's really the only explanation I have. I'm sorry, Anthony. I really am.
Apology accepted.
Well, Anthony, I'm going to call you at some point this weekend, and we're going to talk about Avatar because Christian hates it and Trey hasn't seen it, but I fucking loved it. So I want to talk to you about it and get your opinion on it.
Yeah, and I'm in full support of Totally Biased Movies. Spin-off of this. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, we want to do that. And Totally Biased Sports.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got one more thing, and then we can walk away.
All right.
So this is a screenshot. It's a picture, and it's a woman wearing like a t-shirt. It says, "I'm so stuffed with a little turkey," and then it has like little footprints on her belly, and it's a guy saying with a shirt that says, "I made the stuffing." Okay, and so then someone just took a black square, and over her shirt they wrote, "My husband shot his cum into my pussy," and then on the guy's shirt it says, "I'm the cum man."
I love it. It reminds me of like the tweets where it's like, I hate when someone says, "Yeah, we've been trying for a kid. Why don't you just tell us, yeah, my husband's been shooting loads into me every night."
Dude, I always think about that.
Okay, before we go, I'm going to do something. I'm going to take a snippet of us four right now so Christian can use it for the Instagram. So if you want to look at the camera or not look at the camera, that's totally up to you. Hang on.
Can I make it look like I'm cool?
Are we ready?
Yes.
1, 2, boom. Okay. Trey looks
I was trying to look super serious.
Trey looks very bored and disinterested, and also looks like he's in a jail cell because there's nothing on his wall.
There's 3 posters right here.
I know, it's just a lot of empty space.
And a smoke detector too, right? He's being safe.
Okay, well, everybody, that was One Piece Puzzle, and we hope you enjoyed having Anthony on because we enjoyed it, and he will definitely be back. But we will be back next Thursday. We have no idea what we're doing. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed. Anthony, thank you for coming on, man. It was a blast.
Thank you,
fucking fun.
So fucking proud of y'all.
Badass.
Yeah, keep it up. I mean, this is one of my highlights of the week for real. Listen to this. So I appreciate you guys having me.
Fuck yeah.
Makes my day. All right, love you, dude.
Love you, man.
See y'all.